Yo, what's poppin', people? Your boy Snacks is back in the building with another banger. Y'all know how this go down. Y'all know what happens before we even get started. We got to shout out you, the viewer, for taking the time out to watch this video. And while you're here, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to leave your comments in the comment section. Don't forget you can follow me on all of my socials except for Twitter. Also, follow me on my TikTok and on Blue Sky, where you can uh, get all my stupidity and craziness and raginess. But let's get the party started because it's all coming to a head. It's all about to be exposed how Shedeur was mishandled by the NFL, by these owners, and by the league. And they tried to punish him. And it's all becoming clear now. But let's talk about it. As we move into mini camps and OTAs and the real work begins for the NFL season, as we begin to slot players for their position, as things start to take shape and these rosters are starting to become whole, it's all coming to the forefront. Like I said, it would all show on its face sooner or later that the league conspired to punish Shedeur Sanders, to make him an example of what they wanted and how you are supposed to act when going into the draft process. Dillon Gabriel was their guy, was a guy they thought they could interrupt the flow of Jimmy Haslam not wanting Shedeur Sanders. But as we found out, no, we want Shedeur Sanders. And the Cleveland Browns came back into the draft and picked up Shedeur Sanders. Colin Cowherd started out thinking that maybe Joe Flacco would be the starting quarterback. And as time has gone forward, Shedeur Sanders seems to be his guy.
Ownership group that likes headlines at quarterbacks. Shedeur's a headline. Dillon Gabriel's not. I mean, look, we're paying attention to the Cleveland Browns. They drafted Dillon Gabriel probably a round or two early, hoping to get out of the Shedeur sweepstakes. So the question is, at some point, Haslam's going to come down and say, play Shedeur Sanders. My guess is Joe Flacco wins the starting job. He's the most NFL ready to play. The first 4 weeks, the staff is going to tell him, Shedeur's not ready, Shedeur's not ready. Sunday, October 5th in London, after they start 0-4, 1-3, the owner's going to say, that's what I want. And then the staff's going to say, give us one more week. Let's not start him in London. If Flacco loses that game, my guess is Shedeur starts October 12th against the Steelers. But if Flacco does beat Minnesota, I think he would also beat Pittsburgh. And then he'd lose the next two, bye week, let's go with the kid. So I'm going to put it out there. I got lucky years ago. I predicted week 11, Joe Flacco, isn't that ironic? Joe Flacco would get seated behind Lamar Jackson.
But that's not all. A former NFL GM has stated that Shedeur was not a fifth-round draft pick. Shedeur was that boy. And we talking about a former NFL GM that is really, really good at his job at picking draft picks, at picking players. Lamar Jackson comes to mind. But let's hear it.
I was at the game live. And I stayed on the sidelines the whole time just to pay attention to him because I work for a couple of teams in the NFL and they need a quarterback and all that. So I just stood there and watched him when he, fourth down, boom, he's on the sideline. Okay. What's he doing? He's going to his O-lineman. He's going to his running backs. He's going to his receivers, and just talking football. And you could tell they all looked at him. They all listened to him. He was the leader by far, the leader. I think with his demeanor, and second of all, he's got talent. Watch it. I gave him a first-round grade. and I just don't throw those around like they're anything. I might give 12 to 15 a year at most, and I thought in my opinion, he was the best quarterback when it's all said and done in this draft. He had no running game. He had no offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy still produced big time. I mean, he put up big time numbers, and I think, they're like, well, he's not the great athlete. I'm like, well, who do you compare him to? His dad? Of course not. But if you're comparing him to NFL quarterbacks, he's at least average. He's probably better than average. He got sacked so many times. I'm like, yeah, well, he had two guys on each side chasing him. What do you expect him to do? He's trying to get out of harm's way, but yeah, no, I honestly think just in his demeanor and his mentality, in his throwing motion and his arm strength, and the fact that, he's not a bad athlete. He's not. I'm telling you. And you guys will find that out soon. You'll find it out real soon. And the way he acted on the sideline is the way you want a quarterback to react. Because, like I said, I've been around with some really good ones, and they always had control of the offense.
That's former GM Scott Colangelo. And talking about Shedeur, his mannerisms, how he interacts with his teammates, was he a leader? All the things that they said he wasn't in those interviews, all the things that they said he didn't show in those interviews. And that's why it's always been so puzzling to me as a person that has watched Shedeur from afar as a fan. But if you watched him as I've watched, with all the well-off stuff, all the pregame show stuff, all of the Reach the People stuff, and all of the stuff that he personally puts out, his dad personally puts out, Deion Jr. puts out, it's clear, the reality shows, it's clear that Shedeur is a mannerable, a personable, and a quarterback guy that just wants to win, who does all the right things, who says all the right things. The NFL just wanted to humble somebody that didn't need to be humbled. Somebody who was prepared for everything that they threw at him. And it didn't register the way it registered with other players. And I still call BS on the Giants and their call on Shedeur not being prepared and being an asshole in those meetings. But Holland is starting to come around, thinking Shedeur might be more than just a backup.
That Dillon Gabriel was a reach. I don't think he's an NFL quarterback of note. I think Shedeur is going to win the job. I don't think he's great, but I think he's accurate. He moves well enough. Where do you land on that circus?
There's like the Flacco, Kenny Pickett, who's going to start. Like that's one competition, right? And the loser of that most likely is released, okay? And then there's sort of like the Gabriel Sanders, who's the primary backup. I don't think that at Gabriel Sanders camp, unless they are so good early in training camp, are going to overtake sort of the Pickett Flacco, who's going to start competition, right? I think Flacco starts part of the year as a quarterback. At some point, though, Sanders overtakes him. And so I think Sanders will eventually play, but probably not start the season number one.
But even when picking the schedule for the NFL season, the NFL VP of scheduling has even said that it was hard to schedule the Browns because they didn't know when Shedeur was going to start. And that's why the Browns don't have any premium 7 o'clock games, any late night games, those games in those premier time slots.
Browns, right? We know how much of an intrigue Shedeur Sanders is, but you don't know when he's going to get on the field. Does that at all cross your mind? Maybe if the Browns, like you look at them, probably not expect to be that great this year. Maybe you save like a good game late just in case they hand the baton later on in the season to Shedeur Sanders. Does that play any any factor into the Browns schedule?
It's hard to give a look at a fifth round draft pick and try to build a schedule around a team that, didn't have the season that they wanted last year. It's impossible for us to know, is he going to play? Heck, is he going to make the roster, right? Like, none of us know anything. That one's a tough one. We had enough uncertainty with Aaron Rodgers. Will he not? We didn't really factor Shedeur in. Unfortunately for him, it made for pretty good drama and pretty good television on draft day. But I don't think we could really, roll the dice and guess when Shedeur might be playing for the Browns if he even makes the team. So no thought on that. We joke about Taylor Swift. No thought on Taylor Swift. But yeah, half an eye on Aaron Rodgers. None of us know as we sit here today. So kind of tried to play it down the middle. If we knew he was playing, if he had signed a week ago, I imagine the Steelers' Week 1 game would probably be on national television. It would probably be in prime time somewhere. So as much as we do. But if he does come back, certainly that Packers-Steelers game in Week 8 on Sunday Night Football gets even more interesting.
Nobody cares when Aaron Rodgers is going to play. He needs to retire, in my opinion. He's too fucking old. He's lost plenty of steps. Yes, he has a strong arm, but he's not that guy anymore. Aaron Rodgers, just pack it up. Go enjoy your new family, your newfound love, and do what you do. You know what I'm saying? And to wrap this all up, but y'all hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. To wrap this all up, Shady McCoy of the facility put the nail in the coffin. Well, he put one nail in the coffin on how this NFL punishment of Shedeur Sanders is starting to unravel. Why things are starting to come apart at the seam as it pertains to punishing Shedeur and humbling Shedeur.
How long you been playing in the NFL?
I played 9 years.
Chase, you like 14.
4 of them.
4. So that's a lot of years here, right? We ain't never heard this before.
Never.
You know why? Because you drafted a first-round quarterback in the 5th round. That's the truth of it. You try to teach him a lesson, now it backfired. Because the 3rd-round quarterback, we try to be respectful. Chase, I'm respectful. I get it. You're a quarterback and all that, and I get all that. But we know he's not better than Shedeur. We know what the team knows, the player knows. We know that. And we know that Shedeur is going to pass him real quick, right? But we got to do the steps. So let's just get Gabriel out the way, because we're not going to talk about him like we did before the draft. Number 2 is, what the hell a franchise say the 5th-round quarterback, the starter, and then a guy we traded for, a young guy we traded for that was a former first-rounder, they going to split equal reps as a starter? When have we ever heard of that?
Never heard of that.
And you know why? Because it's never been a situation like this, where a first-round quarterback, you want to prove a point to him, make the kid humble, bow down, kiss the ring, right? And now you want him to play. That's what's going to happen. Because now you are in a room with quarterbacks that's not proven.
Yeah.
Now you're in a room with 5th round, 3rd round, 5th round, 4th round type talent quarterbacks in the room. And the best one is going to win it out. So I said it earlier before we even got to this point. Yeah. Hey, I think Shedeur's going to start a little earlier. Now when the proof comes out, because I heard you saying coaches lie. What's what coaches don't do, though? Mm-hmm. Coaches are not going to waste their time to address the media and the whole entire team about lying about a 5th and 3rd round draft pick. Because really, for real talk, they don't really matter in the NFL. Okay? Yeah. So hold on, James. Yeah. So knowing all that, they're not going to make that up. And now that we have the evidence that it's going to be an equal, fair playing field with Shedeur Sanders and all the other guys in that room, the writing's on the wall, James.
Number one.
And just like that, it's all coming apart. Shady says it right there. They tried to punish him. They tried to make him bow down and kiss the ring. But now that the season is about to start, how are you going to justify that the 5th round quarterback is better than your 3rd round quarterback and your veteran quarterbacks? Because you knew that you should have drafted him in the 1st round all along. But you wanted to set an example. You wanted to make a statement. And now you're fixing to pay for it. Because when the season starts and Shedeur is out there on that field, you're going to have to explain away in press conference after press conference after press conference why is your 5th round quarterback starting over the guy you drafted in front of him and a Super Bowl MVP quarterback that you have on the sideline. And both of your veteran quarterbacks are Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. One didn't play. He just carried a clipboard, but he got a ring. And see, those are the things you're going to have to explain. And now it's all starting to come to a head. And people are going to want answers. Good reporters are going to want answers. ESPN is going to start putting it front and center. Fox in the facility and Speak and these other shows are going to start putting it front and center. Going to start asking these questions. Now what are you going to do? They're not just going to ask them of the Cleveland Browns. They're going to be asking these questions of the NFL. Roger Goodell, you're going to have to step up because the people are going to want to know. That $100 million lawsuit, that dude got out there looking kind of good right about now. Can we turn that into a class action? Let me get a little some of that change. But anyway, man, I'm going to get out of here. Y'all hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to leave your comments in the comment section. It's all coming to a head, man. It is all coming to a head. And it's going to get nasty. And it's going to get ugly. Because these questions are going to be asked. And they are going to have to be answered. Because they won't go away. This public, Shedeur's fan base is huge. And Coach Prime going to be on Twitter talking that, yeah, we know my son was a first-round quarterback. And that's all he going to say. He ain't going to blame nobody. He going to say, hey, see, we knew from the jump that he was a first-round quarterback. The things that they tried to get away with and tried to punish him for, and the people they tried to make an example of were the wrong people. You should have did that to a person with a lesser audience, a smaller fan base, and a smaller voice. Doing it to the Sanders, that family, oh, you was just asking for trouble. But we'll see how it turns out. Ain't gonna turn out too well. Because Shedeur gonna get that bag, gonna get that start, and the NFL is gonna be in a whole lot of shit. But anyway, man, we gonna get out of here. Y'all have a good day. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Your boy gotta go get on this road, make some of this little change. My wife and kids, they need money. So y'all hit the donate button. I'm out.